guys, it's April and this is going to be my September wrap-up, and guys, there has been a lot of life changes. A lot. As you can tell, the bookcases behind me are not my normal bookcases. If you haven't seen my life update where I explain everything that is going on with my library and the fact that we moved, I highly recommend that you go and check that out. I am hoping to have another update up shortly because I'm actually rethinking all of the stuff behind me, so this probably won't stay as it is right now, hence why I haven't loaded it with books yet. That is not why you've clicked on this video. This video is about all the books that I have read in September, and because of everything going on, I only read 7 books. But that 7 books brings my yearly total to 128 books read, which means I am 2 books away from hitting my Goodreads goal, which is kind of exciting. Those 7 books totaled 2,547 pages, which brings the yearly total to 38,957 pages read so far this year. I'm still hitting close to my daily and book averages, which is right now about 148 pages a day, bringing my total days per book to about 2. But now that I have given you all of the wonderful stats, I will start talking about the books that I have read. And I am going to attempt to remember what some of the books were that I read earlier this month, but I can't promise that I will go too much into detail because BookNet Fest happened and I didn't take a lot of notes on what I was reading. So that's a thing. The first book I want to talk about is Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. Couldn't remember her last name. This is the story of Diana, who is a witch, who one day accidentally gets her hands on Ashmole 782, who then finds herself in the middle of a very ancient search for said book, where werewolves, vampires, and witches are all trying to vie for this origin book. I read this for my local book club. I really enjoyed it. I like seeing how Harkness handled witch, vampire, and werewolf lore. I like seeing some of that history that she developed in here. I also really liked all of the literature going on. A lot. I did go into this expecting that this would be a very smutty book just because of the content that was in it, but I was surprised with how not it was. There were references to a lot of lust and a lot of insta-love, but at the same time, it wasn't overly done. So I did enjoy it for that. Now, will I be continuing on in this series? Most likely. Will I be watching the TV series? I don't know about that. If you guys have read this book and watched a TV show, tell me down below your opinions on all of that, and maybe I'll make a decision on whether or not I decide to follow through. I just really like this for what it is, and I don't know if I want to see how they change it. The next book I want to talk about is the Ken Vil Incident, which I have been reading for apparently a really, really long time. I started it in December last year. I finally just sat down and said, you know what, I have to sit down and finish this. I promised that I would do it and give my thoughts on it. It is a space odyssey style adventure centered around a young pilot named Mallory as she's trying to save her ship from being taken away from her and help clear her father's name. I liked the concept of this story. I liked some of the science fiction aspects that went into making this book what it is. The only problem I had is that I couldn't get invested in it for some reason. The way the story was being told, it didn't grab me. I wasn't interested in continuing on. Every time I put it down, I couldn't pick it up. Hence why it took me so long to finish. And I won't lie, I sped read the last half of this book. I was on a plane. It was the only thing I had to read, so I just kind of flew through it. But I got the general gist of the story. I wasn't really excited at the end of the day of what the characters were doing. It was very cookie cutter, and I think that hurt it a little bit. And the characters just, they didn't feel real to me. And that is where I will leave that. The next book I read is The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. I just moved into a new home, and so I wanted a refresher on his theology on spending money, saving, and all of that. So that is what this book was. I do like some of the things he teaches. They're things that I practice very regularly. I have a budget, I save, I give, all of that kind of thing. But it was nice to have that refresher, especially at this time in my life. I also read Volume 8 of Ancient Magus Bride. I'm not going to go into details on this one because it is Volume 8. Let's just say that I am still really thoroughly enjoying this series, just seeing where the bonding and the friendship of all of these characters is going and how they're teaching each other different things about being themselves. I like it. I like it a lot. I also picked up volume 1 of Mystical Beast Investigator. This was actually a recommendation from Shae when we were at BookNet Fest. We did a collaboration video where I told her my favorite books and then she gave me recommendations based off of those books. This is one of those recommendations. It is about a young mystical beast investigator who goes to different towns and investigates the goings-on of different kind of mystical animals and tries to correct things that are happening. I liked what this story was. The only issue I had, it was very episodic, and so there wasn't a lot of overarching story plot that was keeping me invested. I may continue on in reading these, but right now it's so chunky that I didn't really get fully excited about it because it just felt like it was different bits and pieces. The next book I want to talk about is Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. This was Shae and my book club book pick for the month of September. This is for our book club Tell It Again. We have a live show that is up on my channel in case you are interested in more of our in-depth thoughts of everything that was going on. Beware, there are spoilers going into that live show, but here I will keep it spoiler free. This is the story of Maya, who is the daughter of a tailor who really likes making dresses and clothes. Her brothers have gone off to war, her mother has died, her father is no longer keeping up with the shop. She's the one who's doing all the work. When one day the king's messenger comes and says that they need the service of her father or her brothers in a competition to become the royal tailor. Because neither her brothers or her father can make it, she decides to disguise herself as one of her brothers and goes off and attempts to become the royal tailor. A lot of people have touted this as Mulan meets Project Runway. I don't necessarily agree with that. The Project Runway is mainly the first part of the book where they're competing to become the royal tailor. Mulan, only because there is a little gender twist in there with her disguising herself as a boy. But this is more of the Middle Eastern culture, a little more of the Middle Eastern mythos, rather than the Eastern Asia influences, which I had expected going into this story. Instead, you get a lot of the themes of Arabian Nights and different stories like that, which was fun, just not what I was expecting. I did like the author's writing, I just felt like a lot of it was really, really rushed. I do want to continue on in the story. I'm just hoping that the pacing slows down a little bit and we can enjoy the ride. And last but not least, I read Darkdawn by Kristoff. This is book 3 in the Nevernight Chronicles. This is the conclusion of Maya's journey in revenge, family, love, all of those kind of things. I will reiterate, this is an adult book, so there are a lot of adult themes. It gets dark, very dark in places, and for the most part, I really truly enjoyed the story and where it's gone and where it went. There were just parts of it where I didn't care. And I really disliked myself for the fact that I wanted to rush through those parts of the story, and then it started to get very, yeah, I can see where this is going. I know what it's doing. There's not a real big surprise here. There was a death that I thought I should have been truly invested in, and I wasn't. And so that was a thing. And there were little kicks that Kristoff added to the story that if I didn't follow him on Twitter and know some of the things that have happened with the series, I wouldn't have known that they were just little nods to things that people have said to him about the series. I don't know if I like those pieces or not, but they did make me giggle and, you know, do a little head nod like, yeah, I recognize that. I recognize that. But anyways, those are all of the books I've read for the month of September. I think October is going to get crazy with the reading because hopefully I will be back on a regular schedule. My library stuff will start to figure itself out. This might be changing quite frequently, and I'm hoping at some point that I will get my Halloween stuff out because it is October. I need it. Tell me down below what your favorite thing about October is, and I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.